ENFRA show today in Thimphu in Bhutan, and I'm with a very important guest. This is Professor Iyer with you, editor and publisher of ENERTIA. The important guest today is Dasho Ugyen Tshewang, who is the Secretary of the National Environment Commission of Bhutan. Welcome, sir. Welcome to the show. So, sir, I would like to first ask you the question. Bhutan has been a very environmentally conscious society and community and a nation, and it has protected all these years its pristine glory, and at the same time embraced development. So this challenge, of sustainability, fundamentally it is a sustainable model where development also happens and environment is sustainably protected and taken forward along with development. Now, how have you achieved this actually?
Well, let me first welcome both of you also.
Thank you.
And I really appreciate your time and the visit. Well, as you mentioned, Bhutan has an environmental glory and it is being recognized by other countries, but it has come a long way. We had very good high political commitment from the throne, and also the policies thereafter have been set rightly, and that's why we are enjoying very good environmental well-being at the moment. But as you say, sustainable development is the key here in every development aspects now, especially when it comes to the growth, sustainable growth. We feel that sustainable consumption practices should be intervened and introduced in our ways, living in our way, in our developmental goals and activities. So now we have challenges. We cannot afford to destroy our environment, but at the same time, we need economic figures. We need to have economic growth. So in this context, I feel that having sustainable consumption practices is one key area that we have to look at.
Right, sir. So coming forward with that equation, hydropower has benefited a lot to Bhutan, and Bhutan, even in India, is an example of good development. Like we were comparing the Uttarakhand crisis, and we wrote a story in ENERTIA versus the Bhutan. We gave the example that Uttarakhand could learn from Bhutan. That was the kind of story we carried. Now going forward from that, you at the helm of the affairs, I feel people somehow are missing the bus. Solar is equally good. It seems that they are competing, making hydro compete with solar. That is not good. Solar is a separate issue.
Yes.
Solar PV, and Bhutan has very good irradiation. Like in India, Ladakh is considered to be the highest potential solar area, and now we have 1 megawatt project, and then they want to go to, you will not believe, 100 megawatt. So I think Bhutan should also have some idea for the future for solar.
Yes, exactly as you mentioned. Well, we have hydropower development projects very much in pipeline, and we do have potential, all because our natural resources have been good, and we are reaping the benefits of our conservation efforts. But at the same time, as you mentioned, solar energy is one area where Bhutan can take the opportunity and tap these resources. And we have not gone in a big way, and it is high time that our country looks into this and do everything possible to tap such natural resources.
Right. See, for example, in India we have a feed-in tariff, policy. I was just thinking that, like the Indo-Bhutan hydro deal, this is just a kind of a thinking that's coming. Why not discuss with the Indian government for Bhutan a FIT, current rates, so that a marginal rate or a marginal profit is given, in return. And India badly needs a lot of energy, and solar will not offset the entire plant because solar will be much smaller compared to hydro. But what it does, it provides a lot of employment to Bhutanese.
I would put it this way: solar energy is one area where Bhutan can now look into, because there's a lot of potential all around the settlements.
Yes.
It's not just in the cities.
Absolutely.
It's even in the rural settlements,
yes.
rural settings. we need to look at this.
Right.
And if you have the expertise on this area, and obviously you have a lot of, you have gained lots of experience and technology in this area, and if you may like to propose to Bhutan how you want to go about, how you want to pilot this study and pilot this project rather, and come up with some cooperation,
Right.
and then we can apprise the government on your initiative and proposal.
Right.
I would say there's a lot of future.
Yeah, because that's the next future. No, like hydro was very conveniently renewable energy.
Yes.
I think solar is equally renewable,
It's
and it is
equally.
available. The sun is available to
Yes,
us
yes.
at a certain time of the day.
Yes.
And I think at least in India we are seeing roughly 6 hours we get sunlight based power,
Yes.
power generation. Same would be with Bhutan, and maybe a little up and down because solar irradiation in Bhutan is a little lower than the Indian plains, but not drastically lower. Because see, if you see average out through the day, Bhutan has tremendous potential. It is like if Germany can do solar, I think Bhutan can do much better. As an example, if you look at coal countries, So that was my wish, that Bhutan also looks at a little bit of solar because it can help its community. It can employ more people than hydropower can employ. And it can indigenize. You can have local panel assembling. You can have people who make these solar photovoltaic here. And it could be joint venture with the Indian parties which can make it here. It gives more options,
Yes.
So I think you are in agreement with what we are saying on this issue.
I mean, it is definitely one area that we should not, as you say, miss the bus.
Yeah.
And we should definitely tap this natural resource.
Right.
And there's a lot of potential, like I said earlier, in this area.
Right, sir. See, another area, sir, I wished you to throw light on. Like earlier, there was no problem when the population was not consuming. Now, the Bhutanese population also is consuming a lot, and urban centers, and like any other country, this urbanization is pushing people from remote area into the bigger cities like Thimphu, Paro, and Phuntsholing. All are getting crowded and more as we see. And then that means more challenge of waste generation.
Yes.
Now, waste is also something which is not waste actually, it is a resource. So how do you look at it as a head of this commission? Because there is a great potential also to use waste as a potential resource because it has calorific value, it has content, it can produce energy. We can do a lot with what we call as waste. It's not a waste, it's at the end of the day some part of energy.
You see, I mean, you have the experience on waste, but if waste management is not done properly, it can increasingly become a threat to the environment.
Exactly.
Not just to the environment, but also to human health, and also impact on the ecosystem is very bad. And under the new leadership of our government, they have taken very strong initiatives on waste management, clean Bhutan. And this is one area that we are really seriously looking into, how to manage it effectively. And as per our Waste Act and the regulation, as you rightly mentioned, that we need to reduce, recycle and reuse the waste production in this country. And if properly reused, it is high value.
Yes.
Except that we need to work on the mechanism to be put in place, how we can reuse, how we can recycle. And definitely, otherwise waste can increasingly become a concern to the areas I'm concerned. And it would be nice if we can solve this problem.
That's right.
Waste, you see. And there's a lot of awareness required. There's right technology required. There's the right management system required. And it would be good to have your experience even in this area.
Right. Because this actually makes you look at the entire sustainability,
Yes.
which I first
Exactly.
asked you.
Exactly.
The environment sustainability
Yes.
is a key issue
Yes.
that we are all going to deal with in the future.
Yes, yes.
So I think even the waste has to go towards the sustainability pattern.
Yes. There are many forms of waste.
Yes.
And as you know, we have organic, we have non-organic, we have hazardous
Yes.
waste, we have e-waste. And on the organic front, it's all right, it can be reused.
Yeah.
But when it comes to e-waste,
Yeah, that we can.
we definitely need to have a system how we process the e-waste.
That's right.
What kind of understanding we have with the suppliers and the manufacturers on the e-waste.
Exactly.
And again, it's going to become an increasingly a big concern on the e-waste. Just now, we don't have much of system in place.
Right.
How we deal with this e-waste.
It's an early stage, according
It's
to you.
very much in the early stage, and we can do many things on the waste together.
Exactly. So, sir, of course, I have a lot of issues here. How, because again, it comes back the sustainability and Bhutan's environment as it going. And one question for the tourism industry, which is not related to our energy. Tourism industry will also generate a lot of environmental waste. So, is there a policy here for sustainable tourism?
On the waste front.
Yeah, because they are going to
Yes.
definitely, they're going to, if not affluent, but then definitely if the tourists are coming
Yes.
inside, they stay in the hotel, then we are going to handle liquid waste as well as solid waste
Yes.
in that situation, and then disposals.
Yes.
So these are commercial organizations and they have to survive because they are the biggest revenue earners for Bhutan in the future because they earn foreign exchange.
Yes.
So I think somewhere some hand holding is required. It is seen. I've seen that it's not like we say that the stick or the danda will not work. It must be two-way. Maybe the commission or people like you who are at the helm, and then they must come together and we must have a long-term policy of sustainable tourism,
Yes.
which is related to managing the tourism in a very effective way by not affecting environment.
Well, when it comes to waste and tourism, as you rightly said that each and every agency or individual has a shared responsibility
Yes.
on waste management.
Right.
We have said that all those responsible for producing waste or generating waste, they are the implementing agencies for compliance of the regulation of waste. And tourism sector is one,
Yes.
because in the tourist trends and the tracks, destinations, they generate lots of waste. And actually they are responsible for managing the waste that they have generated. And likewise, even the city corporation,
Right.
they are responsible for managing waste in the city areas. And likewise in the school, likewise Ministry of Economic Affairs, the Ministry of Human Settlement, they are being responsible to manage waste in their own territories and in their own offices, in their own localities. But when it comes to tourism, yes, particularly in the context of tourism, waste is very sensitive,
Yes.
a factor that can determine the satisfaction of customers. So tourism is one area where we need to focus and for waste management. And I appreciate that concern you expressed tourism and waste management.
Right. Because then, people are not looking at this in that way.
Yes, yes.
Because that can sustain our beaches, our mountains, our
Yes.
beauty, pristine beauty.
Yes.
So in India, for example, we are looking at disposal near the sea, and because there's a lot of beach resorts now.
Yes, yes.
So then there's both liquid waste management, solid waste management,
Exactly.
and then sustainability.
Yes.
Because again, people must be able to use for generations that beach.
Yes.
It should be clean. It should not have filth.
Yes.
It should not have waste paper. It should not see a lot of plastics, So these are also the concerns of environment today.
Exactly, and we do have concerns. And as I said, we are the apex body on environment. Yes.
Yeah, so you have to.
And we formulate and develop laws and regulations on waste, water,
Right.
and other environment sectors, but it is the implementing agencies and the general public who will need to take their responsibilities for
Right.
waste management.
Right.
But
We
of
need to
course,
create awareness.
Yes, we need to create awareness, we need to frame policies, we need to frame appropriate and effective laws and bylaws, regulations,
Right.
and systems, mechanisms, how we implement, how we go about managing waste. But when it comes to the strategy, then we are responsible to create a strategy, right strategy. But they are responsible, and I think with your partnership, I hope we can be able to bring changes and do something on the waste also.
Sure, sure.
Okay.
And one last question, sir. Number of vehicles increase in any community. Like in India, we have seen that. You know, when vehicles rise, then I think India went for converting to gas, you know, because we had the ability to bring gas, because we could
Yes.
bring gas pipeline. But, you know, how would Bhutan, because I think mostly Bhutan will have either petrol or diesel vehicles.
Well, our government is taking very, very strong initiative on this front,
Okay.
on the pollution through transport.
Yeah.
They have they have done lots of studies, and definitely they want to go about reducing fossil fuel cars, petrol, diesel, and
Could electric car be an answer, sir?
come up with electric cars.
That could be an answer, right?
Yes.
Good answer.
It's a practical
Solution.
solution to provide transport, but at the same time, do away with pollution. And this is one area which should be, which should be good. I mean, for a country like ours, because we have made carbon neutral today.
Exactly. Yeah.
And we cannot have carbon more than we can sequestrate for a sink. So this is one area where we can look at having electric cars, electric transport systems.
Right. The other thing, sir, I feel, we should also think probably for some kind of micro mass transit systems. For example, a monorail could do justice to Thimphu and Paro and these cities, because just a circular monorail, one coming in, going out, people will stop using cars, because the distances are not much.
Yeah.
And it is possible to build monorail because it does not need too much construction compared to metro rail, because monorails are much lighter, what Japan has done. Now in Mumbai we have got that. Mumbai is actually, now first pilot has come. So I think, this nice solutions are environmental solutions.
Yes, even the ropeways.
Yes.
Even the ropeways.
Yes,
monorails. I mean, whatever transport system that can reduce the carbon emission,
Yes.
in fact, could be, very sustainable practices that, we can follow.
Even for short distances, suppose
Yeah.
I say in Thimphu you connect certain sectors,
Yes, yes.
and maybe people use constantly that route with the monorail.
Yes.
So it can be designed for Bhutan. It can be kept in mind with Bhutanese environment and also your cities close to that. And it is not very difficult. I feel you can get global grants for this, because the international fellows will give grants for this if a good project is prepared. I only see probably, I see policies made, but I somehow feel that more coherence is required. Maybe people are like you who are seeing the problems, and people who are making policy must be very closely working.
Well, we need ideas, we need technologies, we need technical assistance, expertise, apart from the resources. We also need to do feasibility studies, how practical it could be.
Yeah.
We really need to do lots of work in these areas.
Yes.
But definitely, the concept of having transport system which is pollution free is nothing like being great.
Yeah. For example, I give you one more idea. If a concept of integrated city and town planning
Transport
concept.
system.
No, town planning. Integrated town planning and management. See, we are actually dealing with multiple problems with common man's life. So when you look at what he or she needs, and then you're sending your kids to school, you're making them move.
Exactly.
So maybe an integrated plan, including energy, environment, waste, water,
Yes.
and transport.
Holistic and package.
Transport and telecommunication.
Yes.
All of this. See, look at the whole integrated management plan.
That can contribute to,
A good.
environment-friendly practices.
Yes, and living environment-friendly and sustainability in cities.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's what ideally we all need to look for.
Right, sir.
Yes.
So great, sir. It was wonderful to talk to you. In fact, I think you're doing already a great job, and you left something good for your next generation. And these were some of the ideas that we just thought we'll share and know from you. And we understand that you people are highly committed, and Bhutan gives the hope for the rest of the world for commitment to environment and sustainability. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very
once again.